Hi friends, and welcome back. This is going to be the second of the two videos to learn how to make the linen stitch blanket and crochet edge. And in this video we'll be specifically talking about the crochet edge. If you want to go back and see how to knit the blanket, the link to that video will be in the description below. So just as a reminder, I used Barocco's Remix to knit the base of the blanket. And love this linen stitch. Love obviously the linen look from the front, but like the woven look on the back too. It's one of those that equally lovely on the front and the back. So the Remix, Barocco's Remix for the base of the blanket. For the crochet edge, I'm using the Remix Light, which is just a lighter version. The Remix is a worsted weight, while the Remix Light is a DK weight, and it just gives the crochet edge just a lighter, airier feel. So we're just going to begin by doing a little slip knot. For those of you who are familiar with picking up in single crochet, this will be redundant, but there's a whole lot of knitters, I was one until just about a year ago, who, while I knit a whole bunch, I had never crocheted, so this will start. I don't like starting at the very end, it just gets too much going on, so I'll just go in a few stitches and start there. And I'm just going to do a slip stitch. And the other thing I do is I take the tail and I hold it, and I'll show you that in a minute here. I hold the tail along the top of the fabric, so to speak, so that I could wrap that tail up into the crochet edge, so I don't have any loose tails that I need to weave in or worry about. So once again, I'm just going to be going into those end stitches. Pulling one and doing the single crochet on all these. And I'm going to work the entire body twice of this single crochet. But here I'm still tying in, so to speak, or wrapping up the tail from the crochet when I did that slip stitch. And after a while I won't do the whole thing. I can cut it, but I've got enough in there so that it won't pop back out. So I've dropped the tail now. I'm just going to trim the rest of it off. Once again, this is single crochet, and we're going to go around twice. When you get to the corners, though, make sure to work 3 single crochet into your corner, into the corner. So this is going to be the first, and once again, there's a piece of yarn here from the knitting that I'm going to try to wrap up too. So that's the second single crochet into that corner. And here's your third. And that's just a rule of thumb for all crocheting. When you're adding a border on anything, you need to go 3 times in there, or else it's gonna curl in on it. All right, we're gonna speed this up, and I'm gonna fast forward. So on the second row, Same thing, you're just going to be picking up those stitches and make sure you put 3 single crochets into the corners again. So one thing I didn't say that I should have told you at the very beginning is that our stitch markers are really helpful to know where each row starts and stops, especially if you wrap up those tails and you can't really see where you started. So we're getting ready here to start the 3rd row, and we're going to be doing a pattern of double crochet and skipping, but for the very first stitch we are going to chain 6. You're going to skip 1 and then double crochet into that next stitch. So to double crochet, you always have that yarn up front. You wrap first, then grab it, wrap again, pull through 2, pull through 2 again. So when we come back around at the end of this row, we'll grab onto that other end. So once again, it's a chain 1, skip 1, and double crochet into the next stitch. So you wrap your yarn, you pull it through, you pull the yarn again through 2, pull yarn again through 2. The pattern once again is chain 1, skip 1, double crochet into the next. So we're going to do that all the way around, just once. Just one row. So it may work when you get to your corner that you might not have the exact number of stitches or number of spaces. So what you just want to do is to chain 2 more than the number of stitches you'll be skipping, just on that opening right before the corner. So in this case, I was skipping 1, so I chained 2 more, so a total of 3. I did my double crochet, then I'm going to do another double crochet in the same space. And I'm going to repeat what I just did on the other half of the row. So I'm going to chain 3, so I'm skipping 1, and then I'll double crochet into the next space. And this just gives those corners a little more room to bend so they don't flare up. So there's our double. And not every corner will you be able to do what I just did. You might have 2 and you're going to have to add 4, but you'll never notice it at the end, and if you do, that's kind of what makes handmade things a little perfectly imperfect. So once again, we're coming to another corner here. And I'm going to work 2 double crochet into that corner stitch. And repeat what I just did on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, skip 1, get your double crochet, speed this up a little. So here we're coming to the end, and I'm going to have to link this up, but I have 2 stitches between, so I'm going to just add, in this case, I'm going to just chain those 2 stitches. I don't have room, you know, it's to fit 2 more in there, and one's not enough, so I'm going to do the 2 stitches, just slip stitch, and so I've tied that back together. When you, for this next row, one thing that I'm going to tell you ahead of time, that place where we just did 2 stitches right here, make sure you pick up 2 stitches in that space. So I'm just going through each space, single crochet there, then I'm going to go where I did the double crochet into that stitch, single crochet. So 1 stitch in each loop that we made, and then 1 stitch into the double crochet, except, and even at the corners, because you only skipped 1 stitch, unless you skipped 2. If you skip 2 stitches, then you need to work in 2 stitches on this row. When you get to the corners, between those 2 doubles that you did, you're going to work 3 into that space. We're going to work 2 rows of single crochet. For the second row, though, you just pick up the stitches, don't go through the loops. And this is when I came back, because I had those 2 stitches I had to skip, I'm working 2 into that loop. Okay. And so this is the second round. So once again, we're picking up the stitches this time. We're not going into the loops. So pick up the stitches and single crochet all the way around again, making sure you put 3 into each corner stitch. Photo bomber. Okay, I'm working 3 into the corner here. Once again, working in every stitch. Okay, so we're back to the beginning, and this is where we're going to make our little loops. So I'm chain stitching 7 here. And these are the loops we're going to tie our tassels on. Then I'm going to skip 3, and into the 4th stitch, I'm going to single crochet, and I'm going to single crochet again into the next stitch. Not into the same stitch, into 2 different stitches. Then once again, I'm going to chain 7, skip 3, go into that 4th stitch with a single crochet. And then into the next stitch again with a single crochet. Now it gets a little squirrely at the corners again, so you just have to be flexible. And every corner you may not treat it the same. And I'll show you at the end of the video how that looked on my blanket. You really have to look closely to see. Okay, so in this case I have the 3. All right, so I'm in good shape here. So I'm just going to change my 7. Skip 3, which puts me right into the corner. But here I'm going to work my single crochets into the same corner stitch. I'm going to work 3 of those as opposed to the 2 side by side. And then I'm going to pick up and do my 7 crochet, I'm sorry, my 7 chain again. Skip my 3, do my 2 single crochets and continue on. All right, so in this one I have in this one I have a few more spaces. So I worked my 1 single crochet and then I'm going to work again 3 in the corner. So I have 1 more single crochet in this corner than I did the other one. And I'll show you on my finished blanket why to not worry about that. So those 2 corners are a little different. But if you see on my blanket here, this corner is different than this corner. I had 3 worked into the one on the left, I'm sorry, 4 worked into the one on the left and 3 worked into the one on the right, and you just can't tell the difference. Okay, so you've gone around and you've bound off, and now it's time to tie the tassels on. And these are about 11-12 inches each skein, each piece of yarn, and I've got 6 of them. So when you fold them over, there are 12, but 6 of them, and I'm putting them in, and I believe in macrame this is called the lark's head knot. So I'm coming down from the bottom and grabbing the loop and making sure it's all, that nothing got separated, that my yarns or pieces of yarn are all together the way they're supposed to be. And then just stick those loose ends down through that loop you made and snug it up a little. and work all the way around. This is a good project to do sitting in front of your favorite TV show. Okay, speed this up a little. I know you got places to go, people to see. All right, now it's time. I just used a simple overhand knot for then tying. So I split each tassel now in half, so I have 6 on each side, and I'm pulling from the knot next to it, and I'm just working overhand knot. And I tried to make sure that they were all kind of lined up. You know, I didn't have them at completely different parts of the tassel, and it really wasn't hard at all. You just have to take your time. And, you know, if one looks wonky, then you just untie it. It's not a big deal. But the lark head knot just wouldn't be as secure as just an overhand knot would be. This yarn is machine washable, and so I do intend to be able to wash it. And I was afraid with doing this last knot in the lark's head, that it wouldn't stay knotted in the washing machine. And so on the corner, I did tie it a little lower so that it would not fold up there. And that string just needs to be tucked in. And there we go. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, pop them below. I'd love to have you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and pop over to the blog if you want to see that printable, get the printable instructions for this blanket. This is one of my favorite projects for sure. It'll make a great gift, or in my own house as well. So once again, if you do want to pop over to the blog and get more information, click the little eye on the top right of the screen. And if you want to follow the YouTube channel and see when I put out more videos, then click the little nest at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I hope you have a great day. Thanks again for stopping by.